Typically, when you think of mission work, you would go to Matthew chapter 28, or you might go to Mark chapter 16, or maybe even go to the book of Acts and read some of the missionary journeys of Paul to get your mission statement. Probably wouldn't go to Matthew chapter 25, but that's exactly where the Torch Mission Program gets our mission statement. This is really deep. It really, truly is deep, because it's talking about the judgment day. And Jesus is literally separating the saved from the lost. And the criteria that he uses in this illustration has everything to do with benevolence and taking care of the people that are less fortunate. Matthew doesn't mention anything about your doctrinal beliefs. He doesn't mention anything about your creed. He doesn't ask if you followed the steps of salvation. He simply said, did you give me something to drink? Did you give me clothes? Did you give me food? Did you come to visit me when I was in need? And the people said, when did we ever do that? We never saw you like that. And the key phrase is, when you did it to one of the least of these, you did it as if it were me. Torch Missions grabbed that, and we said, if we're going to step out and do mission work, we're going to live by the words of Matthew chapter 25. It all starts with reaching out to those who are in need. Now, there's great need all over the world. We suffer with first world problems. The needs that we have are nothing compared to the needs around the world. And we have people that have traveled to Africa and to Asia and to Central and South America. They've been to Australia, and they know that there are people that are very much less fortunate than we are. So my mission journey began way back when I was in high school. I went to the Lincoln Church of Christ. I didn't grow up in the church. When I transferred to a Christian school and realized that all my friends were going to church, I tagged along. And so that's where my Christian journey began. When I was a sophomore in high school, we sent a team to a little town called Jessup, Georgia, to do a vacation Bible school / gospel meeting in Georgia. And I went on that trip, and I promise you my life changed at that point. It just totally changed. And then when I went off to Freed-Hardeman University, my freshman year, there was a mission team that was going to England and Scotland for 6 weeks. And I was all in. And then from there on, I decided that this has got to be part of who I am. I wanted to be part of doing mission work in some capacity. In 1991, my wife and I moved to Nashville, Tennessee for a job opportunity that my wife had. And the church that her brother was preaching at was the Valrico Church of Christ. And the youth minister there was a man named Steve Davidson, who also worked at Lipscomb University. And Steve was on the brink of this new idea that he'd come up with, and he wanted to take a mission trip to Honduras. In 1990, 1991, Honduras wasn't exactly the safest place in the world to be going. And when he told me he was taking 28 teenagers to Honduras, I was petrified. I was absolutely terrified. Only an insane person would even be considering such a thing. And somehow he talked me into going. I don't even know how he did it, but he talked me into going. I went down, and I've been going back ever since, because it changed my life. It totally changed my life. So I got involved in short-term missions. As Torch Missions gets up and going a little bit, we start going to youth rallies. We would go to lectureship. I had a little booth set up for lectureship week, and hundreds of people had come to the university and were walking around looking at all the displays. And this gentleman came up to me, took one look at the booth, and he said, Torch Missions. I said, yes, sir. You are wasting your time. Okay. He said, you are just literally not only wasting time, you're wasting the Lord's money, you're wasting the Lord's resources, and you're not making any difference whatsoever. Your time down in Honduras is nothing but a drop of water in a bucket. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't prepared for that. We'll come back and we'll talk about that gentleman later on. Torch Missions began in 1988 from Valrico Church of Christ. Since that time, Torch has grown to multiple teams every year. Hundreds of people go down every year through Torch Missions. Teams can range from a small group of a dozen people maybe to over 100. The largest team that I've ever worked with that I led to Honduras was 165. When we go down to Honduras, we are looking to accomplish feeding the hungry, providing clothes and shoes for those who need them, visiting the sick and providing medical attention, visiting those that are lonely, visiting those that are in prison, and fulfilling these words. We try to accomplish those things every time we go on a trip. Torch Missions conducts many different types of ministry. Our trip here from Creekside is not the only Torch team that goes to Honduras. There's multiple teams that go all year long. Some teams specialize in medical. We have a team from California that goes down and they spend a week and they do surgery for children that were born with cleft palates and cleft lips and things like that. We have some that go down that strictly build houses. We have some that go down that strictly do evangelism work. The team that I lead, we focus on evangelism, medical, construction, benevolence, and visitation. We try to do all those things in the amount of time that we go down. Trips range from a week to a month or more. Torch Missions was designed for teenagers because Barna and his research concluded after surveying like 20,000 teenagers that one of the number one things that teenagers needed to transfer their faith from their parents' faith to their own personal faith was mission work. And so we started out as a cultural immersion experience for teenagers to show them what life in a third world country is like. And it's not like the life we live here at all. We wanted them to experience the cultural differences, the language, the culture, everything about it. Today, Torch teams are made up of all different age groups, from teenagers all the way up to senior citizens. Teams, a wide range of educational backgrounds, work experience, work skills. We've grown. It's no longer just for teenagers. Creekside began working with Torch and Foundation Christian about 10 years ago with a guy named Steve Davidson. And we have led teams from here to Honduras, Costa Rica, and Guatemala. During the past 10 years, Creekside and FCA have sent nearly 200 people to do work in Honduras and Central America. During this time, other congregations, South Trail, Orange Avenue, Winter Haven, Bay Area, Leesburg, and there's more, have also traveled with us and sent people to work with us. People from Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, California, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Louisiana have been with us on our trips. We also recruit students from Harding, Freed Hardeman, Lipscomb, Faulkner, and Lubbock Christian to go on our trips. All said and told, over the last 10 years, more than 80 congregations of the Lord's Church has worked with us in Honduras. Rex, I don't know about you, but I've lived in a lot of places and I've never seen 80 congregations work together on anything, if you know what I'm talking about. But we see it all the time. We have young, we have old, we have people from all these different religious backgrounds. It's amazing. All these different teams I've been talking about are autonomous. Teams work under the rules and the protocols of a mission board that we have that's made up of 4 team leaders. And we basically have made up some of the rules and protocols of what you should and shouldn't do when you're in a foreign country like Honduras. And then each team works under the oversight of an eldership. I've been working under the eldership of the Katanning Church for the last 25 years. Katanning sends some of their elders every year on the trip. One of their elders is one of our co-leaders, Mr. Brian Steffi. He's my right-hand man on these trips. I had a really interesting discussion with the congregation a few years ago, and they couldn't understand this concept of being autonomous. How can each team be autonomous? And so I asked him, are churches autonomous? And he said, yeah, that's different. I said, no, not really. Each team is autonomous, and they all answer to the congregation that oversees them. And so the conversation took a left turn really fast. And he said, why don't you just have one church that oversees the whole thing? Wouldn't that be better? I said, are you volunteering your church to do that? He goes, maybe. What are we talking about here? At the time, I said, there's about 700 or 800 people that go every year. And our working budget is somewhere around $2.5 million. Do you have a treasurer that's going to be willing to handle all that? That was the end of the discussion. He understood at that point why we're autonomous. During our trip alone, about $150,000 to $200,000 will flow through the Katanning treasury for our trip. And it's a handful, but they're willing to do it. And I'm very grateful for it. So let's take a quick look at Honduras. You may be asking, why do we go to Honduras in the first place? It's the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. The only other country poor is Haiti. Believe it or not, it's a very friendly place. It's very American friendly. It's very receptive for people coming in to do mission work and to do benevolence and humanitarian work. It may be a surprise to you, but Americans are not welcome everywhere around the world. We don't have a sterling reputation in some corners of the world, but in Honduras, we do. There's the map. Honduras is right in the middle of Central America. Almost 10 million people live there, and 80% of the population lives in 3 cities. If you were wanting to do evangelism work, you couldn't ask for better setup than this. The capital is Tegucigalpa. It's a religious country to start with, and it's a really beautiful place. It's democratic government, set up very much like the United States. It's about the size of Tennessee, maybe, as far as the land is concerned, very mountainous throughout the country. They have 2 seasons, rainy and dry. 66% of Hondurans live on less than $10 a day. 25% of the population lives on less than $2 a day. So to say that they live from day to day is an understatement. And so the humanitarian assistance that can be provided means everything to them. In the capital itself, there's about 3 million people, and this is where we work. This is like headquarters for us. We work in and around Tegucigalpa because we can reach a third of the population in one town. We're self-sufficient when we get down there. We have our own buses. We have our own bus drivers. We have our own facility. It's called Agua Viva. It's located in a little town called Santa Ana, which is up in the mountains above Tegucigalpa. It is the most beautiful place. If you've ever been to the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, you've been to Santa Ana. That's exactly what it looks like. It's really a beautiful place. Our property has dormitories, a dining hall, kitchen, recreational area, soccer court, snack shack, a pavilion, parking area, amphitheater, a bodega, which is a fancy word for a storehouse. Right next door is Clínica de Esperanza, which is a free medical clinic and a dental clinic. And on the other side of the property is the Santa Ana Church of Christ. We helped establish both of these and help build both of those, and we have a great working relationship with them. Dormitories are very comfortable. Bedrooms are set up to house as many as 100 or more people at a time. Linens, pillows, blankets are provided. Rooms are set up to accommodate different numbers of people depending on the room. Every room's got restrooms, hot water showers, storage areas, and all the water in Agua Viva is purified and safe to drink, which is really a blessing. Our property is safe, it's secure. It's on about 12 acres of land. We have fiber optic internet, laundry service. Meals are provided by a tremendous staff of cooks. I just cannot tell you how good the food is. It's fantastic. Morning devotionals are often held in our amphitheater. There's a picture of it here from this last trip. If you look closely, you can see Keegan standing down there giving the lesson. He did a fantastic job as the keynote speaker for our morning devotionals. Obviously, we go out there if the weather permits, and then we would break Devo and we would head off on our buses to go work for the day, typically getting back around 5 o'clock in time to eat dinner. After dinner, our team cleans the dining hall and we set it up for the evening devotional. The evening devotional is done inside because it's usually raining by night. This is a brand new dining hall. We finished it while we were there. It can hold about 150 people. The singing in there is fantastic. The evening speaker was Cade McDowell, who was a senior pre-med student from Lubbock Christian. Cade and Keegan kind of tag teamed on the theme, Oh, to be one in Christ. Cade was the big man on campus because he's 6'11". He's also my nephew, so I call him Shorty, but he's a great guy. Here's a picture of our team. Our team was made up of 75 people from 8 different states. 39 of our members came from Creekside and Foundation Christian. As usual, we had a wide range of workers. Ages ranged from a 7-year-old to a 76-year-old. And about 40% of the team was the first time they'd ever been to Honduras. The picture shows some of the luggage we took down with us. Besides our own personal stuff, every suitcase had supplies that were needed for our projects, like medicine, tools, shoes, clothing, toys, stuffed animals. And that's just some of our luggage that we took with us. So our daily schedule, if you were to go on one of our trips, this is what it looks like. You will hear the phrase, welcome to Honduras, about every single day. We're not welcoming you to a beautiful country. That's a catchphrase for something happened and the plans have changed. So my job is to come up with the schedule. I do it the night before. Going to bed knowing that schedule is not going to work. The weather's not going to cooperate. A bus is going to break down. A delivery truck is not going to make it on. Something's going to happen every single day. So we prepped everybody by just knowing that we're going to have a plan B, a plan C, and we're going to be flexible. And it was amazing how flexible this group was. So we wake up at 6, we have breakfast at 7, Devo at 8, 9:15, we're getting ready to leave, 9:30, we're out the door, we're back home around 5 or 6, 6 o'clock is dinner, 7:30 is evening devotional, a few minutes of free time, and then off to the dorms for quiet time. Unless you're Keegan. He went to bed whenever he wanted to. Just because he knew it bothered me. To the eldership, I just want to say, I don't know how you do it. I'm just saying. He's a great guy. He really is. He just doesn't know how to follow rules. Workdays usually involved about 3 or 4 different work opportunities. The projects are announced the night before, gives you a chance to think about what you might want to do. You wake up in the morning, during breakfast, you sign up for a project, and then after the morning devotional, you would do that project. If the one that you wanted to do filled up, then you would have a second choice or maybe even a third choice. And we would just basically say, the Lord knows where he wants you today, so be flexible. So what were the project options? Okay, so each day there's multiple options. We try to encourage everyone to try everything, right? We have guys that go down there. I'm going to use Aaron as my example because he's like the perfect example. I remember the first time Aaron went down, I'm down here to build houses. Okay, great. I want you to go visit. I want you to do some of this other. Nope, I'm here to build houses. I sling hammers and I run chainsaws. About 4 days into the trip, we had a project called Daughters of the King. Daughters of the King is basically like a spa day for the little girls down there. And we go into an orphanage and we wash their hair and we give them a new dress and new shoes and we do the fingernails and give them jewelry and we take their picture for them. And we just want them to know that they're a daughter of the King. And typically what happens is once they're all decked out, they want to turn around and do that to you. So the bus is coming back in, and Aaron comes off the bus, and his fingernails had been painted pink. And it was the most beautiful shade of pink I ever saw. And Aaron told me, I like Daughters of the King, and I couldn't hardly get him to go back to build any houses after that. We want you to try all the different things because you never know what you might be good at, okay? So we have medical. Bobby and Asha run our medical program. In case you don't know this, Bobby runs a very tight ship. He does. And it's awesome. It is a machine in action. During the 3 days of our medical clinics, we had other doctors and nurses and pharmacists, and we had med students from Lubbock, and we had all these people. And during those 3 days, our clinic saw 650 patients in 3 days. Ask your doctor. Next time you go to the doctor, ask them how many patients they see on a typical day. It's not 650. And it runs like a machine. It's just the most amazing thing, okay? We do evangelism. We do this in different ways. Last year, Jesus was on our trip, and Jesus preached the gospel meeting at the Santa Ana Church. Did a fantastic job because he speaks Spanish. We didn't need an interpreter. That was awesome. Of course, the rest of us had no idea what he's talking about, but it was good. I know it was good. This year, we did not do a gospel meeting, but we did have a vacation Bible school team that was headed up by Victoria, and they did a 3-day VBS at Santa Ana. We had a 3-day ladies Bible class that was really well attended. We went out and we distributed Bibles and Bible tracts and Bible lessons in the community. And we also had 17 devotionals within our team this year. Benevolence. We do a lot of service projects. Projects include painting, cleanup projects, repairing things. We give away shoes and clothes at a local elementary school. We gave away 450 bags of food. Each bag of food is prepped to feed 6 people for a week. So that's about 2,000 people received food for a week. So for those families that are living day to day, mouth to mouth, and they have a full week's worth of food in their house, that actually gives them an opportunity to take their money and spend it for other things that they probably need, but they can't afford. It's a wonderful blessing. All right. We do visitation. We spend a lot of time at an orphanage called Didasco. We did a thing called the Banquet for Jesus, where we go in and we prepare a lunch for the kids and for the staff. And then we just play games and hang out with them in the afternoon. And the cooks and everybody get the day off, which is just one of the most fun things that we do when we go down there. We went to a local elementary school. They had about 250 kids. And we did a vacation Bible school there. We did the school supply giveaway. We did clothes, shoes, food bags, and toys. And we were able to bless those families. And we do construction. And this is probably what we're most well known for. Since 1995, Torch Missions has built over 3,700 houses in Honduras. Every family that we built a house for did not have a house before we got there. Or they had a house that was in such terrible condition, the best thing we could do for them is tear it down and build a new one, okay? We've also built schools. We've had the honor of helping build 5 schools in Honduras. We've built 2 orphanages, and we've built 17 church buildings since 1995. We've built playgrounds, 8 of those, and then we build odds and ends stuff. We build benches and bunk beds and flower boxes. We built bridges, staircases. We built a lot of stuff. This year, we raised the money to build 13 houses within our trip. 12 of the 13 houses were dedication houses built to honor someone. Dedication houses are always super special to the team because it's almost always somebody that we know. We were able to build a house this year for my dad and also a house for Prince Davis. And we also did a lot of repair work on a playground that you'll see later. Our medical clinics are done in remote locations where there is no medical care. We went to a village this year. They have not seen a medical professional since 1984. 1984. 1,000 people lived in that community, and we saw about 300 of them. And so we're hoping that next year we can go back and see the ones that we missed. Our clinics are completely free of charge. The medicines are free. Everything is free, including the vitamins. Okay? Our clinics include over-the-counter medicines, hygiene supplies, and Dr. Bobby has the pharmacy super well organized. We have over 50 different medicines that's in our pharmacy, and it's well stocked, and we could handle 650 people with medicine left over to give to Clinica de Esperanza. Evangelism, I'm going through just pictures of the group. You'll see a picture of the VBS team at work. You probably recognize, I can't tell, are the pictures big enough that you can even see them? They look really good on my computer. Benevolence, we did Daughters of the King. I already told you what that is. We did a lot of visitation. We did a banquet for Jesus and more. There's a picture of Will Skyver washing the feet of a little girl. Victoria, I'm not sure what you're doing, Victoria. It looks like you're sorting food, rice. And a picture of a couple little boys. They got some superhero toys out of the deal. Oops. A couple more pictures. Picture of Tammy. And you can see Keegan back there. They are sorting rice, it looks like. And on the right-hand side, Beverly's granddaughter, is playing games at Didasco. Desiree really loved the trip. There's a picture of Jaden washing hair. A picture of Rosa sorting beans. Picture of Beverly riding on the bus. And you can see the bags of food in the background that we're on our way to deliver those bags of food to families. The playground that we built at Didasco, major repair work, and then we put a fresh coat of paint on it. And then the picture on the right is just having time playing with the kids. Picture of Keegan in all of his glory. That's what I had to deal with every single day. That's the face I saw every morning. And then we have pictures at Didasco, picture of Josh Height painting part of the playground. We have, our houses are made like kits. And when the wood's delivered, a lot of the wood's already pre-cut. We can start a house and finish a house in less than 4 hours on average. Tongue and groove siding, tin roofs. The guys up on top of roofs, and the girls, we call them roof monkeys. There is a weight limit on people that are allowed to get up there. And there's a picture of Erin presenting the Prince Davis house to the new owner. If you look in the back, you can see the plaque that we gave her that talks about Prince Davis. Construction, when we get done, that's what the houses look like. 1 door, 1 window, tin roof, wooden floor. We include a welcome home box that has plates and silverware, blankets, pots, pans, and other supplies. To get a house, you don't have to have there's no strings attached. You simply have to prove that you own the land and get your name put in the hat. And when we build a house, we literally reach into that. We pray, we reach into the hat, and we pull out a name. And that's who gets the house. And the community comes in to help build. It's really amazing. No animosity. Everybody knows that how we do it. And they're very happy for the people that get the houses. They're so happy. And they know at some point their time will come in God's time. We always connect them to the local preacher when we get finished. Usually the local preacher will come in and visit, maybe even help out in the building so that the family knows the connection between us and the church and the community. Repairing the playground. Picture of Rosa and Margaret holding the wall in place. Picture of Margaret painting. A lot of construction. I had to get one picture in there of me just so you know I do actually do things down there. Picture of Will Skyver trimming a couple boards there. And then the completion of the slide and an idea of how big the houses are that we build on that right-hand side. All right, so the 2023 Honduras mission team wants to thank everyone that helped make this trip possible, from the elders to so many people that donated money or donated supplies. We had a box out in the lobby, and every Sunday when I'd walk by, it would just be full of supplies. And then the next Sunday, it would be full again. We could not have done this trip without you. We did make a long-lasting impression on the people that we served, and we made a long-lasting impression on those of us that went on the trip. Are you ready to go next summer? Because the people in Honduras are ready for us. So let me go back to my friend that I met that told us that what we did doesn't amount to a drop of water in a bucket. After 32 years of working in Honduras and building 17 church buildings and building 5 or 6 schools, a couple orphanages, building 3,700 houses, distributing thousands and thousands and thousands of bags of food, and giving away tens of thousands of pieces of clothing, and visiting, and the gospel meetings, and over 500 baptisms. I would love to see that man one more time, to let him know that we need a bigger bucket, because we are making a difference. Every year, we make a difference. And you're a part of it, and I can't thank you enough for it. We're going to be doing 2 trips. We're doing a trip to Guatemala, which is June 22nd through June 29th. And we'll be doing the Honduras trip July 1st through July 11th. And if you want more information, see Margaret and I will be glad to help you out. We really would, because we'd love to see you go. The Honduras trip has created a revival of sorts at Foundation Christian. It's changed the culture of our school. As soon as kids roll into 6th grade, they start hearing about it. And each year, we have more and more people that sign up to go. I would love to tell you that Foundation Christian is full of kids from strong church families that are actively involved in their local congregations. But the sad truth is they're not. Many of our students come from unchurched families. And they're going to Foundation because it's a good academic school. It's a safe school. And our jobs is to show them who Jesus is, how their connection fits in the grand scheme of things, and then getting them tied into activities like Honduras really makes a difference. Maybe you've realized that, wow, the Great Commission is not a suggestion. Jesus didn't say if you can get around to it, if it's not too overly inconvenient. He put it on the table and he said, I want you to go and I want you to make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And here's the best part. And lo, I'll be with you always. The Great Commission is for you. We all have to step up and do our part, because I think the Great Awakening is upon us. And I hope that you want to be part of it too.